Everyone assumes investing requires money you don't currently have, and that assumption alone keeps a lot of people out of the market for years longer than they need to be. It doesn't take thousands of dollars sitting around. It takes a system, and I want to walk through exactly how to start with genuinely close to nothing and still be in the market by the end of this week. The first thing to understand is that fractional shares completely changed this game. You used to need enough money to buy a whole share of something, which for a lot of solid companies and funds meant hundreds of dollars just to get started. That requirement is basically gone now. Most major brokerage apps let you buy a fraction of a share for as little as a few dollars, which means the excuse of not having enough for a full share doesn't really hold up anymore. You can start with $5, $10, whatever you actually have, and still own a real piece of an actual index fund. The second thing, and this one gets skipped constantly, is checking whether your employer offers any kind of retirement match before doing anything else. If your job offers to match a percentage of what you contribute to a retirement account, that match is money that shows up in your account for doing basically nothing except contributing in the first place. Skipping a match because you feel like you don't have enough money to invest is genuinely leaving free money on the table, and it's usually the very first move that makes sense before anything else on this list. The third piece is starting with whatever amount actually fits your situation right now, even if that number feels embarrassingly small. A lot of people wait until they have some meaningful amount saved up before they start, and that waiting period is exactly what costs the most over time, because the years you're not invested are years you don't get back. $10 a week invested consistently starting now beats waiting 2 years to start with $100 a week, purely because of how much longer the smaller amount has to actually grow. The fourth piece is automating the process the moment you set it up, even at a small amount. Set a recurring transfer, weekly or every paycheck, moving whatever you can afford directly into your investment account before you have a chance to spend it somewhere else. The amount matters far less than the consistency. A habit that survives years at a small amount will outperform a big one-time deposit that never gets repeated, because investing is fundamentally about time in the market, not timing a single big entry. The fifth thing worth knowing is where that first bit of money should actually go. For someone starting with very little, a broad, low-cost index fund tracking the total market, or the S&P 500, is usually the most sensible starting point because it spreads your money across hundreds of companies instead of betting everything on one stock you read about somewhere. This isn't about finding some hidden gem before everyone else does. It's about owning a small slice of the entire economy and letting time do the actual work. The sixth thing, and this one matters more than people expect, is making sure high-interest debt gets addressed before aggressive investing does. If you're carrying a credit card balance at a high interest rate, that interest is very likely growing faster than what a typical investment will realistically earn you in the same period. Paying that down first isn't giving up on investing. It's clearing the one thing that's actively working against you harder than anything you could be earning in the market at the same time. The seventh thing is building a small buffer before going all in on investing every extra dollar. Even a few $100s set aside separately means an unexpected expense doesn't force you to pull money back out of investments you just started, which resets the clock on the compounding you were trying to build in the first place. The buffer doesn't need to be huge to start, it just needs to exist. None of this requires a big salary, a lucky pick, or some secret account only certain people know about. It requires fractional shares to remove the excuse of needing a full share's worth of money, an employer match if you have access to one, an amount that actually fits your real budget even if it's small, full automation so the habit doesn't depend on willpower, a broad index fund instead of a stock you gambled on, high interest debt handled first, and a small buffer so one bad week doesn't undo the whole plan. Starting with no money isn't really the obstacle people think it is in 2026. Waiting until you feel ready is the actual obstacle, and that feeling of being ready tends to never actually arrive on its own. If you want the full walkthrough of exactly which account to open first and how I'd set it up starting from literally zero, let me know in the comments and I'll make that one next.